The buzz of my phone pulled me out of the monotonous drone of the airport waiting area. I looked down, anticipating yet another work notification. But the name on the screen made my heart clench. Mrs. Coleman, my recent neighbor. "Lauren, I hate to alarm you," the text said, "but your driveway is filled with vehicles. It appears there's a gathering. Before we start, leave a comment and let us know where you're from and which city you're viewing our content from. And after you've watched the entire video, remember to share what you would do in this scenario. Be truthful. Share it in the comments section below. We read every single one. Let's get started." My stomach churned. I had finalized the purchase of the house only 2 weeks earlier. No one, not even my relatives, knew I had acquired it. I had planned to announce it once I returned from this business trip. With trembling fingers, I launched the home security application. My mouth went dry as the live stream connected. Loud music blasted from the outdoor speakers. String lights draped across the deck. On the terrace, Jason, my brother, lifted a beer triumphantly. His other arm slung around our cousin as though this were his own victory party. Inside, I noticed Megan, my sister, toasting glasses like she was the hostess. My mother, Linda, sat at the kitchen counter, chuckling with a wine glass in her grip. And my father, Thomas, commanded attention in the living room, recounting familiar tales as if this were his domain. My heart pounded as I switched to another camera angle. My brand new couch, still pristine until that moment, was covered with dirty footwear and greasy dishes. Bottles scattered across the surfaces. Someone had even spilled a mark on the carpet I had carefully selected. A wave of anger surged through me, mixed with deep hurt. These were the very people who had claimed I would never succeed, who mocked me when I mentioned saving for a home. They labeled me impulsive, unreliable, and now they were celebrating in the space I had earned through my own effort. I could practically hear their past taunts echoing. "Lauren, you'll never handle things independently." Yet here they were, drinking, enjoying themselves, reveling in the evidence that I had proven them wrong. I gritted my teeth, fury building. I couldn't arrive soon enough, but I didn't have to. I opened my messaging app and typed a brief message to my husband. They're inside the house. The typing indicator appeared immediately. His response was concise and determined. Heading there now. My gaze remained fixed on the live feed. 10 minutes passed and headlights illuminated the driveway. The front door opened quietly and Daniel entered. He didn't shout. He didn't need to. The entire room went still the moment they noticed him. Jason's beer slipped from his fingers. Megan's confident grin faded. My father's anecdote halted abruptly. My mother stared in shock. The joy vanished from her expression. Daniel surveyed the space with a cold, unwavering stare. Composed, resolute, intimidating. He was the unexpected force they never anticipated. And as I sat far away, viewing the camera stream, my mouth formed a quiet, icy murmur just for myself. Now let's watch them try to justify this. The quiet was overwhelming. The music continued to pulse softly from the backyard speakers. But nobody dared stir as Daniel Mitchell moved into the living area. He shut the door behind him deliberately, the gentle click resounding like a thunderclap. Jason broke the silence first, though his words faltered. Daniel, hey buddy, what brings you here?" Daniel's gaze sharpened as he took in the chaos. Dishes precariously placed on my untouched sofa. Dirt smeared across the gleaming hardwood floors. A nearly empty bourbon bottle teetered near the end table. He didn't respond to Jason immediately. Instead, he leaned over, lifted a sticky plate from the couch fabric, and examined it. "You know," he remarked softly, his tone even yet cutting. "Lauren hasn't even used this couch once." The statement hung heavily in the air. Megan fidgeted, gripping her glass more firmly. My father, Thomas, cleared his throat, attempting to hide his discomfort behind false confidence. "Daniel, no need for theatrics. We're simply having a small celebration. Families ought to feel welcome in one another's spaces." Daniel's expression hardened. One another's spaces. He moved closer, his voice gaining slight intensity to pierce the atmosphere. "That's interesting, Thomas, because as far as I know, this property isn't yours or Megan's or Jason's or anyone else in this room." Linda finally chimed in, her tone pointed and protective. "What's your issue? Lauren wasn't around, and the house seemed vacant. It's not as if she informed us about it." Daniel's mouth twisted into a humorless expression. "Precisely. She kept it secret because she predicted exactly this behavior." The atmosphere grew oppressive. Jason pocketed his hands, casting anxious glances at Megan, who avoided Daniel's stare. My father's complexion darkened, as if personally offended. "Listen, Daniel," Thomas boomed, "you don't get to enter and scold us. Lauren wouldn't even own this place without the upbringing we provided. She owes this family far more than you realize. Daniel advanced until he was close to Thomas, his voice quiet yet firm, carrying quiet menace. She doesn't owe any of you anything. She earned this. She struggled for this. While you all dismissed her as foolish and incapable, she saved every dollar. And now, when she finally demonstrates you were mistaken, you swarm in like opportunists. I observed from my phone, my pulse racing as though I stood in the room myself. I had never witnessed Daniel in this mode. Restrained, unwavering, yet each word loaded with intensity. Megan attempted to ease the strain with a forced chuckle, though it wavered. Come on, Daniel, it was merely a gathering. Why are you treating it like a serious offense? Lauren tends to exaggerate, and you're following suit. His attention shifted to her sharply. Exaggerate, his tone sliced through. You're occupying a home that isn't yours. Consuming alcohol you didn't purchase, tracking dirt on floors you never maintained, and you label her excessive. Megan's arrogance disappeared. Her face grew ashen. Then Daniel surprised everyone. He retrieved his phone, tapped it, and raised the screen. My image filled the display. Greet her, he instructed. Their expressions turned to shock upon seeing me on the video call, observing everything. I remained silent initially. I allowed the quiet to build, letting their unease intensify. At last I spoke. So whose property is this exactly? Jason mumbled. Lauren, please, we didn't intend any harm. No harm. My words carried through the speaker, laced with long-suppressed anger. I saved for this home while you all ridiculed me openly. Every skipped family meal, every additional work shift, every refusal of unnecessary expenses. It was all for this. And now that I've achieved something solely mine, you force entry and treat it like a recreational space. Thomas frowned. Don't distort the situation, Lauren. We were only— No, I interrupted fiercely. You weren't only anything. You confirmed every reason I concealed it, because you lack respect for me. You've never shown respect for me. The room fell quiet except for the distant speaker hum. Daniel ended the pause, his tone absolute. Everyone needs to depart immediately. Jason attempted objection. Immediately, Daniel reiterated, his voice deepening. Before I place a call you'll regret. It wasn't mere intimidation. It was assurance, and they recognized it. Gradually, hesitantly, they started gathering belongings. Megan placed her glass down with unsteady hands. Jason grumbled softly but avoided the camera. Linda whispered to Thomas, who glared at Daniel yet knew defeat. Individually, they moved toward the exit, faces drained, assurance shattered. As the final person left, Daniel angled the camera to reveal the disorder. Dishes piled high, marks on the carpet, bottles overturned. My heart ached, rage and sorrow intertwining. Daniel's tone softened as he brought the phone nearer. Don't fret, Lauren, I'll handle it. I breathed out unsteadily. For the first time in hours, I trusted him. But inwardly, I understood. This matter wasn't resolved. That night marked merely the start. The following morning, I sat at the table in my hotel room, laptop open, phone vibrating repeatedly. My relatives had sent numerous messages overnight, filled with justifications, insincere regrets, and lingering entitlement. Megan's recording was biting. Lauren, you're overreacting. It was simply a get-together. Quit causing drama. You know family takes priority. Jason's was guarded. I failed to understand your anger. We were just appreciating the space before you imposed restrictions. But my father's stung deepest. His rough tone held that recognizable sharpness. Lauren, you've always been self-centered. If you didn't want us present, you should have mentioned it. Don't pretend this house elevates you above those who brought you up. My fingers shook as I stopped playback. Brought me up. Those phrases struck profoundly. Brought me up to doubt my worth. Brought me up to believe achievement required their validation. Brought me up to feel shame for desiring independence. I closed the laptop, pulse racing, as Daniel entered with coffees. He placed one before me, reading my expression. They've been contacting you, haven't they? I nodded. Constantly. They aren't truly remorseful, Daniel. They're merely upset I established a boundary. He rested against the counter, arms crossed, gaze firm. Then we must demonstrate that boundary is permanent. I glanced at him, uncertain. How? His mouth formed that same composed, intense smile from the footage. By reinforcing that this isn't merely a residence, it's yours. And regardless of their claims, you hold the authority now. His statements resonated within me, igniting determination. I had previously concealed accomplishments, fearing mockery, fearing sabotage. But the prior night revealed reality. Concealment only granted them perceived dominance. No longer. That afternoon I arrived home. My nerves tightened as I entered the driveway, noting faint tire marks from their vehicles. Daniel followed closely, his support reassuring. I turned the key and entered. Lingering alcohol scent filled the space. Dried spots marred the carpet. My formerly spotless counters bore sticky residue from spills. I stood absorbing the damage, and resolve solidified within me. This extended beyond a gathering. It encompassed every dismissal, every accusation of impulsiveness, every scoff at my independence goals. I faced Daniel, my tone firm yet fueled by determination. I won't tidy this myself. He arched an eyebrow. What's your plan? I lifted my phone and composed a message, a group text to everyone. You left my home in disarray. If you desire any future access, you will clean it. Tomorrow, all of you. Otherwise, locks are replaced and you'll never enter again. I sent it without hesitation. Replies flooded in quickly. Megan, you can't be serious. You don't dictate to us. Jason, Lauren, don't escalate this. My mother, Linda, darling, let's not escalate. We'll visit another day. Perhaps with a meal. But my father's arrived, brief and hostile. You don't command this family. Think ownership grants power? You remain that same naive girl. I displayed it to Daniel. His expression tightened. Then tomorrow, he stated softly, we ensure they recognize your strength. The next day, I opened the door precisely at noon. They arrived sequentially. Jason initially grumbling quietly, Megan with crossed arms defiant, Linda evading my gaze. And lastly, Thomas, face rigid. Tension filled the air as they entered. Jason surveyed the clutter and sneered. This is absurd. No, I countered sharply. What's absurd is believing you could disregard me, my property, and my achievements without repercussions. You created this disorder. You will remedy it. Megan gestured dramatically. You're truly forcing your relatives to scrub like servants. Daniel advanced, his tone even yet warning-laden. Servants show her greater courtesy than you have. The remark struck hard. Jason paled. Linda parted her lips, then shut them. Thomas flushed with fury, yet paused. For a prolonged moment, stillness prevailed. Then, gradually, Megan retrieved a garbage bag, hands unsteady. Jason cursed softly while collecting bottles. Linda exhaled deeply, taking cleaning wipes. And eventually, Thomas knelt with a cloth, his ego fracturing under quiet pressure. I remained standing, arms folded, observing. For once, they lacked control. For once, they couldn't manipulate the narrative or belittle my choices. And as my father erased the mark from the carpet he had ignored previously, a profound satisfaction filled me. This wasn't overt vengeance. It wasn't yelling or eviction. It was subtler, more powerful, forcing acknowledgement of their actions and reinforcing ownership. When the final bottle was discarded and the carpet restored, I approached, tone resolute. Thank you for restoring order. Now leave, they gaped astonished. Leave, I reiterated stronger. Until you demonstrate respect, you have no place here. With Daniel beside me, I observed them exit quietly, subdued and wordless. For the first time in years, I felt invincible. I believed it concluded. I assumed that compelling them to clean and dismissing them would teach boundaries. But 2 evenings later, my phone illuminated once more. A message from Megan. We're visiting tomorrow for a meal. Don't exaggerate. We remain family. My heart constricted, fury rising anew. They had absorbed nothing. In their view, this home remained open for intrusion. Daniel saw the text beside me. His gaze intensified. Words don't reach them, Lauren. Actions do. This time, we conclude it permanently. The following evening, rather than preparing dinner, I positioned my laptop on the counter. I swiftly compiled footage from the security system, the gathering, their carefree attitudes, their disregard. Every perspective, every careless moment recorded clearly. At 7 precisely, the knock sounded. Jason, Megan, Linda, and Thomas entered confidently. My nerves flared, but I stood firm. Daniel remained nearby, composed, prepared. Meal ready? Megan inquired, attempting cheer. Not this evening, I replied coolly. Tonight involves viewing something different. I rotated the laptop. The recording began immediately, Jason carelessly placing his drink on my furniture. Megan grinning with her glass. Linda chuckling nonchalantly, Thomas boasting in the background. Their faces lost color as the proof replayed. Every unflattering detail, every display of disrespect preserved. You unlawfully entered my home. You hosted a celebration. You damaged what I labored for. Then you portrayed me as unreasonable. My voice remained even yet shook with pent-up anger. Jason stuttered. Lauren, there's no need to silence, I commanded. You spent years criticizing me, claiming I was impulsive, undependable, destined to fail. But upon succeeding, you attempted to claim it. This, I gestured to the screen, reveals your true behavior when you believe I'm unaware. Linda's eyes moistened, but not from remorse, from apprehension. Lauren, please don't share this. Daniel moved forward, tone quiet and conclusive. That's precisely it. We won't have to. You've revealed yourselves already. And moving forward, you will never diminish Lauren again. Never. Thomas reddened yet lacked rebuttal. Not against the recording, not against Daniel's presence, not against my newfound authority. I folded my arms. Here's the agreement. You show respect for me for this home, or you remain excluded permanently. No further opportunities. The ensuing quiet outweighed any argument. Jason averted his gaze. Megan's resistance evaporated, her posture defensive. Linda dabbed her cheeks, nodding faintly. And Thomas, my father, who once derided my ambitions, fixed his eyes downward. His arrogance broken. At last, I declared, now depart. They complied without protest. Individually, they exited, burdened by the footage and my statements. When the door closed, I sank into a seat, shaking. Daniel embraced me, supportive and warm. You accomplished it, he murmured. You finally confronted them. Tears formed, but not of grief, of liberation. Years of mockery, years of belittlement, years of feeling inadequate. It ceased that evening. As I rested on my restored couch in the home I acquired through dedication and perseverance, a realization dawned. Retribution wasn't the true triumph. It was reclaiming my value, proving I wasn't the failure they portrayed. This was my residence, my existence, my terms, and for the first time in years I felt truly liberated.